Hey there, everybody. What's up? This is the one and only Kevin J. Brown here. Uh, Kev J.B, as you all know me here on this platform. So today we're going to have an interesting topic about the power of a line and how this plays a role in balance and focus for productivity. And why exactly a line? Some of you may be wondering, like, why none one of these kind of weird topics? Why a line? No worries, we're going to talk about that. So earlier this week, Tuesday specifically, I went to volunteer for a youth mentorship program that one of my childhood friends has been hosting in town for like quite a long time. And he has been aiming to um, build a mentorship that helps to teach uh, young kids. Well, the ones that I was with, they were really all boys, but his goal was to teach them, responsibility, entrepreneurship, the things that will allow them to have a successful future. So I went to join, that particular mentorship group to try to, assist and volunteer. And really, I was led to be there. I was led to be a part of that in some way. I felt like I was being divinely, spiritually guided there. And so I didn't go today. But I will go next week over there. So that's no, that's beside the point. I went there, and there was a lot of things that came up during that whole conversation, and I want to share with you all. So the first thing was during that time I was in there, there was a yoga instructor, a female yoga instructor that was there to teach them to relax, teach them about balance and harmony, and get into all these different poses. That are typical for yoga. Just some simple poses. Hey, God's child, good seeing you. It's good to see you again. Good evening. But she got into these poses with them, and they were laying on the mats, they were standing on the mats, and it was very interesting to watch. And one of the poses that she told the kids to do was a tree pose. And for a lot of kids, they were very distracted. Like when it comes time to teach, a bunch of kids who would rather talk instead of try to get into these poses, or while getting into these poses, they were being very distracted. So they had a hard time standing still. They had a hard time even making the poses and things like that. And so there was music playing in the background through her phone, and she turned off the music and she told them that um, one of the things that is going to require you to be successful in life and even just to get into the poses is the importance of um, focus and making sure that you're balancing yourself. And so she got them to quiet down, and she got them to focus by telling them to find something on the wall or find something around the room and focus on that so that way it has their attention. And then that's how she was able to get them to stay in a pose long enough. The tree pose, which is basically standing on one leg, having your foot on the other on that same leg, and being able to stand still with that pose. So she was able to do that. They were able to go through all the different relaxation techniques and all that type of stuff. So it was time to go. It was well, she left, and so it was time for them to go and all that type of stuff. And there were some people that were giving an introduction. There were some people that were there for the very first time. They introduced me, and they were able to talk about the grades that the students were having and everything. Some people who were really doing well with their grades. Some people who were not doing as well as they should have. So I was noticing that particular thing. And I know this all seems long. Trust me, we're going somewhere. So we're talking about the grades and stuff. And then after that, they ate pizza and they were able to go outside. And one of the things I was noticing, like when we were kids, there were a lot of life lessons that we missed out, like we tend to miss out on. And they tend to be so simple. Um, and the lesson that I was learning, not just from the yoga instructor and being able to listen to them about the grades. Some people found out about their grades, but what was interesting was the idea of being in a single file line. You know how difficult it can be to get kids, whether preteen, teenager, whatever. You know how difficult it can be to get them in a single file line. And so it was in that time that I was putting all these things together, because I was taking the time. That part of the reason why I wanted to join the particular organization was not necessarily for me to be a mentor, but I wanted to see what I could learn from the kids that were there, along with my childhood friend who was mentoring them, and things like that. Um, so it was very like I started questioning myself. What are the chances that the same people who had a hard time finding balance and having focus when it came to um, being into the tree position, or even from the standpoint of the grades and stuff, what is the likelihood that they also could not be in a single file line? Now you may be wondering, like, Kevin, why are you talking about this? Well, think about a line, right? A line has a lot of significant meanings, not just simply the stuff that we do with rules and trying to get people to follow lines and things like that, but it has significance from the standpoint of establishing order, balance, directions, and boundaries. And overall, those are key components for discipline, right? In fact, being in alignment. Some we talk about People talk about alignment, especially from a spiritual standpoint. But alignment actually comes from a French word called aligner, which means to fix or allay in a line. There is something about a line that establishes order in all the things that we do. If you take a time to look at football, what is it that separates a 10 foot, 20 foot, 30 foot, 40 foot line from the goal and to make a touchdown? It's all made up of lines. What is that separates a 2 point line in a basketball court from a 3 point line, or a 3 point goal? It's all about what's in a line. Lines are very important because they help to establish territories in spaces, right? And so I was really taking time to look at my own life, and see where is it that I have not been in that area of being in alignment and being in a position where I was balanced and focused. One of those areas in which I know that's the case, um, has been within, like my writing, for example. I'm somebody who um, hasn't hasn't necessarily appreciated the um, the the concept, the art, and the science of writing. I've actually recently had to start doing that, because I was writing to someone, and he had a hard time really understanding my handwriting because I wrote so fast, and I haven't really had the time to learn how to perfect my handwriting. So the writing kind of came off as chicken scratches, to make the letters. And really, I knew in that moment that the issue wasn't necessarily that I didn't know how to write or you know, didn't have the proper training for handwriting. The real issue was that I wasn't building focus enough and concentration enough to take my time to establish a proper structure for my writing. Structure is another aspect of a line. So recently, I started writing in my notebook and started to practice my handwriting. I had a pen. I had a very good pen, and I started to know how to. I started to take my time with learning how to write. I'm trying to get back into writing by hand instead of doing it by typing, because typing how to communicate fast, but writing us to try to communicate effectively, through learning how to properly share our words. Take time to look at, like writings like Eastern writings, like Chinese or Japanese, are very they take the way they do the art of their writing. They really kind of knowing how to set the proper structure for every character inside there. And so I had to take the time to know that I really wanted to do the same thing. So I got back into cursive writing. How many of y'all remember cursive? How many of y'all actually do cursive still? Like, I haven't done cursive. I myself I cursive since middle school. I like beyond only time that I really do cursive myself is when I'm actually like, writing documents or you know writing forms and forms and things like that. Not necessarily really taking my time to utilize stuff that I had learned from my childhood and apply that to properly structuring my handwriting. I hadn't done that in years. And so why so first of all, let me continue my point. So I started going back into taking my time to focus, to concentrate, and to send have a proper structure for my handwriting, both in regular form and in cursive form. Why am I mentioning this? All these things, whether it's talking about your grades, whether it's talking about writing well, whether it's talking about setting yourself in a position for a balanced yoga position, right? Or just being in a single file line. It all comes from one thing, and that's focus. Putting your concentration and knowing how to balance and center yourself to where you are actually being effective instead of just simply um, doing a task. In fact, while I was taking the time to think about my time with the children, I just thought about a pencil, like a pen or a pencil, and how it's all just a single file line, and how as much as lines represent order, it represents structure, discipline, um, boundaries, and so many other things. I had to start taking the time to recognize in my own life how my particular focus has not been in the straight line that it could be. Now we all have our challenges when it comes to focus, and but I think that we forget when we were kids. I know for me personally as a kid, um, I did not have the best focus. I was not structured. I was not disciplined. No, especially since I was not somebody who played sports. I didn't get the training that I need from knowing how to be disciplined and having that type of structure that's necessary. Having a balance, a balance boundaries and things like that, which is what you need to have and being aligned towards anything physically, mentally, spiritually, or whatever. I didn't really do those things. And so I recognize there are things in my life that has suffered that have suffered from child to teenage years, up to adulthood that um could have been a much they could have had a better turnout if I had just really taken my time to get the proper training and structure necessary to be in alignment with where I needed to go. If I had something to give me the focus. I'm glad for the kids that are in the mentorship program with my childhood friend because he's really aiming to do that. However, I really had to start looking back into my own childhood and start recognizing that in all actuality, I'm not that different from them. And truth be told, I know that many of them probably aren't. Many of the adults that were there aren't that different from the children. But we're aiming to be adults are aiming to be the children's guiding light. Um, but I had to take the time to recognize there was a moment in I had a learning moment from those kids that I need to start incorporating into my life is being in better alignment and back to the power of alignment and being balanced, being focused, being who is centered towards a particular goal and doing whatever it takes to put himself, or if you're a woman, herself, into alignment physically, mentally, socially, spiritually, financially, and much more. Uh, for me, also, it works out well because having really some serious issues figuring out where I want to go next in life, which led me to eventually led me to go being into that mentorship program in place for the kids. Because typically when it comes to like healing your inner, you typically have to go to children to do that. Now that could be very dangerous to dealing with because the same people who have childhood issues are harming children at the same time because very vulnerable, right? And so you do have to be very that. But if you're pretty balanced, and you're natured, you'll find that kids will teach you a whole lot about yourself that you think you may have done away with because now you're an adult. But the truth of the matter is, you're not that much different from them. Really, nobody is that much different from children. In fact, a lot of the traumas that many people face and negative experiences often come from childhood anyway. And so, um, taking the time to learn from children and seeing where you could be missing the mark is a perfect way to find where your focus is, where your balance could be. Um, and maybe you have issues with being in your own single file line, in alignment with whatever goals that you may have, whatever structure that you may be lacking, whatever um, the the balance that you need to have, and whatever your concentration that is that you may be lacking. You could be just like those kids within your own life, and so you got to figure out, just like with the yoga instructor, what is your focal point? What is it you're going to put your attention towards? And how are you going to align with that? Another reason why I had my notebook, I wasn't just simply to it wasn't just simply to practice my writing. It was also to make sure that I was being focused with the goals that I was having with my own life as well. Um, and putting myself um, in that direction, because that's what a line is for, putting myself in a direction to be in that position of those particular goals in my life. And so I say all these things because some of you all listening to this video, this could be the very thing that you're dealing with right now. Some of you all may be out of alignment or you may question your alignment with things. And so I encourage you to think about a line and what a line represents. Again, that is order, it's direction, balance, um, boundaries, territory, structure, and all that works together to create your discipline, which gives you a focus towards what it is that you're heading. What is it that you are lacking in each of those areas that could be showing up as a result in your own life? If you're in some state of confusion right now for what it is that you may be doing in your life, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, financially, if you're in any state of confusion, chances are it's out of order. And if it's out of order, that means it's out of alignment with where it is that you are aiming to be or should be. What exactly is that for you? And how can you utilize the idea of a line and what it represents to master productivity within your own life? How can you get back into balance? How you can get back into focus? How you're going to get things from chaos to order? How you're going to get things from chaos to structure and to discipline? How are you going to be setting those boundaries to where that anyone or anything that comes up, they can't enter into it because you're aiming towards this goal? What are the things that you need to do to make sure that you are in the direction of where you're going? Not just simply, going whichever the wind blows, because emotions will do that to you. All the thoughts that you have in your head, the fears that you have, what people may think uh, because I know I'm dealing with that too. What people may think and what you may project will distract you from the direction that you need to take. What is the focal point that you need to have in order to move yourself ahead, so that way that you are getting towards the goal, and allow that line to be your path. Align everything that you are facing to help you to get back into center, back into direction, back into balance, and get towards that focal point. So that way that everything that you're doing, everything that is set for you, is one step at a time towards that goal. Like again, the yoga instructor, find your find your focal point because in that focus, it will help direct you towards the balance. Hey, Raw Talk Culture, good to see you. I hope you're doing well today. So that's it. That's all I want to share with you all today. Find your balance by finding your focus. You find your balance by um, getting yourself or getting back into discipline. You find your balance by having the right structures that will send you towards the direction that you're going towards. It's just like Google Maps. Google Maps will send you from one location to another. Um, in the path according to where you are, it'll send you from the one destination to another. If you deter, it'll send you right back into another direction to get you back to where you need to be. But there is still something that's going to be there that is going to lead you to where you're going to go. What is that direction for you? All right. So that's it. I'm going to leave it there. Make sure that you guys hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Make sure that you leave your comments and feedback below if this is something that really helped you out. If you are new here, make sure that you hit not only the like button, but click the notification bell so that way you are alerted every time there is a new video. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about the mass propaganda energy harvesting that is being done with this war that is happening right now. I don't hear a whole lot of people talking about it. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow, also at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss out on that. It's on my community wall. So if you are someone who wants to be a part of that discussion, make sure you hit the notification bell so that way you're alerted when we have that discussion because it's a necessary one. And um, I'll just save that particular conversation for tomorrow. So, with that said, I wish you all a wonderful day ahead, evening where you all may be. Some of you all may be in the afternoon. That's fine. And stay focused and keep being productive. And remember, anytime it seems like things are out of order, find yourself just like a line. What are the things you need to do as far as order, balance, structure, direction, um, boundaries, and all of that. Make a list of each of those things and figure out where you stand and where you need to be. And you'll find your goals on the other side of that. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. Tomorrow.